Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here, and we're back with a little bit of Wild Ale. Wild Ale Beerworks. Yeah, a little bit of a Eternal Fugitive. Again, very much Coheed and Cambria songs going on here. Rye Lager. So we have a rye lager. You don't see a ton of rye lagers, especially from relatively new breweries, but I'm kind of chomping at the bit to dive into this sucker. Just because I've dug a lot of what these folks have done, and something about a rye lager just kind of hits me, kind of in the feels a little bit. So we'll see what's what. What did it say? Usually have some kind of like a quote, poet, or book, whatever. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Words are hard here. Thou eternal fugitive, hovering over all that live, quick and skillful to inspire sweet, extravagant desire. Starry space and lily bell, filling with thy rosette smell, wilt not give the lips to taste of the nectar which thou hast. It's kind of like a little bit, not modest. It's like kind of saying the shit don't stick that you're about to open. I can dig the cut. I can dig it. So we'll see what's what. These guys are Jersey born, down towards the shore. The labels on these just keep getting better and better. This is kind of like almost like mosaic style window kind of into the fall, and I kind of dig on that, even though we're sitting at the dead middle or dead beginning of summer. But I really do dig on the label. This was canned about a month and a half ago, and 5.7% for those playing along at home. Got to keep those box scores, son. Anyway, that looks like a rye lager. It looks like a washout iced tea. Looks like a shilling ale. Looks like a bunch of different things. Marzen, whole bunch of stuff. So, but very much if you said, hey, this is a rye lager, I'd be like, you know what? That kind of looks on point. Just under a pinky finger, kind of a little soapy, kind of dissipating, got a head on it. So, let's see if we can get a nose. It's a rye lager. Very much rye forward. Very much that malt forward. Lagers aren't that big of a beer. You're touching 6% on this, almost touching 6%. So it's a little bit bigger of a lager. So you expect a little bit more heavy maltiness, but being that it is a rye lager, I really do want to kind of really sing on the whole rye tip, because you don't see a lot of rye lagers, so I kind of want that. So getting it here, big rye component. I'm getting almost like a melony fruitiness, which isn't that uncommon for a lot of lager hopping, and the soft little fluttering of like a precursor to some bitter. Done and done. It smells like a malt forward, rye forward chugger. Let's dive in. Cheers, all. That's a rye lager. Again, no shit Sherlock stuff. But I think that's a really hard thing to kind of pull off. A lot of times, a lot of people say, I'm making a rye lager, and it comes off flabby or a bunch of different directions. Because one, I think brewing with rye is kind of like, you need a little bit of a deft hand, and two, doing lagers are equally as difficult when you combine them together. That kind of exponentially harder landing on it gets a little bit more difficult. As far as how it drinks, as far as mouthfeel, snappiness, drinkability, it definitely comes off as a lager. Super squeaky clean. Drinks as kind of crispy boy as you possibly can with something as heavy and spicy as a rye. And the cool part about it is, I think the rye level on this is just perfect amount for how the hop presence come off here. Definitely in your kind of bittering, kind of Zazie kind of level of, Chucky Locker. But when you kind of combine that with that spiciness of that rye, it almost kind of comes from the same direction. You're kind of bridging up to that hoppiness, but you're also, that hoppiness is bridging up to that rye spiciness, to where they almost kind of meld together and become one, which is kind of what we want a lot of times when it comes to beers. We don't want these singular kind of notes to come off. We want to be a bit more cohesive, a bit more kind of in tune with each other. Yeah, for 5.7% rye in lager life, not gonna lie to you, it'd be hard pressed to find much better. Yeah. Uber impressed by Wild Ale. After picking up their first beer off a shelf not too long ago, and after diving in, going from the hazy to, what was the second one? Oh my god, I'm spacing. Oh, dark. It was dark lager. I believe, and now kind of diving into this spicy rye jam. It's just all kind of coming up roses for me, at least. drinking a lot of beers that I enjoy. That kind of makes it a little bit easier, but from the technical side of things, the cleanliness, the razor precisioniness of the lager portion of the show is really on point. And then when you kind of throw in again here with this rye malt really kind of being the start of the show, but accentuating a lot of what's going on, whether it be the cleanliness of the beer or the kind of bittering of the hoppiness, it all just kind of works together in concert and ends up becoming a super tasty, very fun, probably, let's go there, one of the best rye beers I've ever had. Yeah. If we're going to break it down to like lagers, when we go, one of the best lagers you've ever had, or at least Mount Rushmore status recently, it's in a conversation. It's not number one. It's worthy. I've just had ones that have done me a little bit better. It's not so much this beer's issue as it is there's just ones that do me a little bit better. That's quite a large swath of beers. I drink a lot of lagers. Rye beers of all time. That's very, well, not the tiniest category. It's also, not the biggest at the same time, but man, I'm hard pressed to find 3 better rye-based beers that I've had than this, and I think that's pretty high praise. I've had my fair share. I'm sure I've drank over a couple hundred rye beers, and just to see the rye used in this way in a lager, I think is a really, really fun thing, and just tasty beer overall. If you like what we like this, if you like rye beers and lagers, you like this. How about that? How off the cuff, how of a reach was that one? That if you like rye beers and lagers, you'll like this. If you like well-made, clean beers that happen to have rye in them, how about that? You'll like this. Well, there. Have you been there? Have you been to the brewery? Have you been to the brewery recently? Have you had this beer from the brewery? I want to know all that stuff down there. So, there you go. Reviewing the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you're enjoying a little bit of rye goodness right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.